Hello, my name is Nicole DeCenzo, and we are going through Revelation in black and white. We are on week 8 this week, chapter 14 and 15. Last week we did chapter 12 and 13, and we talked about the beast of Revelation, or actually the beast of Revelation, and we learned that the heads represent kingdoms, and we learned in our homework and we went through very in-depthly that last head, that last kingdom that is going to rise back up is actually the Turkish Ottoman Empire, the Islamic Empire. That is going to be the empire of the end times. And I want to briefly say here, a lot of scholars, especially those in America, still tend to point to Rome as being, or Europe in general, as being the kingdom that's going to rise up in the end times. But that when you look at Scripture, it is totally not what Scripture is saying. They are pointing to the Turkish Ottoman Empire, the Middle Eastern Empire. And if you think about this in just a worldwide context, this makes sense, because the Jews have always been persecuted by those nations. And when it's talking about the second coming, and it refers to the nations that Jesus is going to judge in the end times, it always refers to Middle Eastern nations, to Edom, to Tyre, to Lebanon, to Assyria, to Babylon. Those are the nations he's going to judge when he returns. And so we need to take our eyes off of Europe and turn it to the Middle East. And everything starts becoming clear in Revelation when you do that, because things just start falling into place that, yes, these people have this culture that is able to do this. So what I want to do today is really go over some of the Islamic ideology, because it's going to be very, very important for us to realize what they believe, because we need to understand how deep this goes, and it's going to blow your minds. It's probably going to make your hair stand on end when you learn what they actually believe. Okay, first thing we need to know is that Islam is the fastest growing religion out there, and this should concern us greatly. Christianity is probably about a third of the earth, probably about 30% of the population claims to be Christian. There's over 20% now that claims to be Islamic, but they are converting people, and people are becoming Islamic faster and faster and faster now, partly because of the birth rate. I mean, our birth rate in America is probably like 1.2 kids or something like that, and they have a lot more kids than that. They have 7, 8, 9 children, and so just by default, the population is going to massively grow. And also, they're converting a lot of people, and I've heard that they're converting a lot of people in prisons, okay, that already have that hatred to people out there. So they are converting those people and other people to their cause, and also they're having a higher birth rate than we do. Okay, so they say in about less than 10 years, by like 2020, their numbers are going to surpass ours on the globe, which is massively something that we need to realize and understand and try to combat, because here is why. Okay, we're going to start talking about the books that they have and their beliefs are just, well, let me just get started. Their book, just before we get really in depth to it, their book is called the Quran. You probably should know, you probably know that, but what you need to realize is how the Quran came to be. Muhammad was by himself, and an angel appeared to him and started choking him and saying, recite, recite. And so Muhammad was terrified. He thought he was demon possessed. He actually said, I think I'm demon possessed. And he ran and he told his wife, and his wife convinced him that no, in fact, he was a prophet. And so the next time this happened, he started writing down the words of Allah, okay, into the Quran. So the Quran is actually the words of Allah, not the words of Muhammad, okay, according to what they believe. Now there's another couple books out there that they refer to, and those are called the Sunnahs. And there are two parts to that. The first is the Surah, and that is literally the bibliography of Muhammad. The majority of the Sunnahs are the Hadiths, and the Hadiths are where we get our end-time theology. And the Hadiths are not Muhammad writing things down. It's his followers writing things down of what he said and did. It's probably similar to what our Gospels are. It's not Jesus writing the words down. It's his followers writing the words down and what he did down, okay? And that's where we get the Hadiths. That's where we get the end-time theology. And there's a lot of different ones. And what they do on top of each Hadith is they say, this was Muhammad's general that wrote about what Muhammad said about this, or this was the brother of the cousin of the general that was by Muhammad. And so the further you get away from Muhammad, the less oomph they have, and the closer you get to Muhammad, the more oomph they have, the more believable they are. Okay, so those are the hadiths. And again, that is where we get our end time theology. Okay, so what again we need to know about this environment is, if you think about Christianity and what Christians are supposed to be like, we strive to be like who? We strive to be like Jesus. We want to emulate him. We want to be like him. We follow him. Okay, if that's true, the same thing should be true of Islam. They should be trying to strive to be like somebody. And who would that person be? It would be Muhammad. They call him the perfect human being, and they strive to be like him. What we need to know about Muhammad is he came on the scene, and once this angel choked him and he started writing down the Quran, he started trying to convert people to his religion. And he was pretty much laughed at. He was laughed out of town, and not many people besides his family even converted with him. And then what happened is he got a little angry, and he became a terrorizer of the region. He started raiding and plundering and gathering this loot to where other people would follow him, and the criteria was to follow him to get this loot. He converted a lot of people in order for them to gain the wealth. And so then he started raiding and pillaging. He made treaties with people, and he broke them in order to get stronger than them. He waged jihad. He was a terrorist. He was a plunderer. He was a pillager. He was a rapist. All these things. He once was peaceful, and now he became non-peaceful. What we also need to realize is there are peaceful verses in the Quran, but we are also going to read today some of the other verses. And what we need to realize is it says in the Quran that Allah can change his mind. And the former verses of Allah that are peaceful that Muhammad wrote are not taken into account according to true Islam when he wrote about killing and beheading and find them and slay them. That should take precedence over the former. His latter revelations took precedent over the former. Okay, so that's Muhammad. And if they are trying to be just like we are trying to follow Christ, they're trying to be like Muhammad. ISIS is actually following Muhammad's rules and words and laws that he wrote down, okay? This is not a radical group. This is who they should look like if they are truly following the prophet, okay? But now let's pause and let's look at their end time theology, because this is where your hair is going to stand on end. What they believe is that someone called the Mahdi is coming. If you listen to anything Ahmadinejad said a few years ago, he would always start his prayers by, I pray for the promised one to come, or the 12th Imam. This is the same thing as the Mahdi. And the Mahdi, according to their religion, is their Messiah. It's their Savior. It's their last figure that's going to rise up. And what he's going to do is he is going to lead the caliphate. And I bet you have heard that word in the news lately. The caliphate, what that is basically the United States of Islam. Okay? So it's basically those countries coming together over there and becoming like a United States of Islam over in the Middle East. Okay? Now, ISIS has already declared the caliphate. They have already said that we're declaring the caliphate, we have a leader, and we're going to take over, basically is what they're saying. So you have this caliphate forming, and what they believe is the Mahdi is going to start leading the caliphate. Okay, I don't think they've declared a Mahdi yet, but they've declared the caliphate. Now, in Revelation, it kind of defines where that caliphate's going to be, and ISIS has to gain more ground in order for that beast to appear. But this could be the beginning of it unless we crush ISIS. Okay, so that's what we need to know. So this Mahdi figure is going to come, and what is he going to do? He is going to cause, they believe, Islam to be dominant over the face of the globe. He is going to cause everybody to submit to Islam. That is their end time theology. That is their end time goal. Okay, we need to understand that, because that is what they want to accomplish. And that's when they see that caliphate, when they see that Mahdi figure declared, they're going to know that now is the time to try to take over the globe. Okay, so there's two theologies over there about it. One of them said, we need to bring chaos in order for the Mahdi to rise up. This was Ahmadinejad. He wanted to bring about mass chaos in order for this figure to rise up. That's one theology. That's the people waging jihad now. We got to do this now in order for this thing to form and this guy to come. The other side of the coin says, no, the Mahdi is going to come on the scene peacefully, and then we are going to wage jihad. Okay, now's the time to take over the globe for Islam. Okay, because that is what the Mahdi figure is here to do. Okay, so what's very interesting to note is they point to seal number 1 of our book Revelation in chapter 6, seal 1, when we say, here's the Antichrist rising up, okay? They point to that seal and say, that is the Mahdi rising up. That is our Savior rising up. Now listen, according to what I just said, what is seal number 2? Seal number 2 is the sword, it is terror, it is war. This makes sense if you realize that right now we have people waging jihad, but not the majority of the Muslims out there. But if the Muslims that are out there, the Islamic followers that truly know the end-time theology of Islam, they're going to recognize now's the time to bring about Islam being dominant over the world. So now's the time to wage jihad. So when that caliphate is formed, when that Mahdi comes, we're going to see a lot more terror out there, and according to Revelation, that will happen, and that is exactly what is happening in Revelation, is the bad guy rises up, he makes a peace treaty, and then there's terror across the globe. Now, note this. They also believe, now your hairs don't stand on end, they also believe that the Mahdi is going to make a peace treaty with Israel for 7 years. I cannot make this stuff up. According to Daniel chapter 9, the Antichrist rises up and makes a treaty with Israel for 7 years. Now note, when Arafat was here and they were trying to negotiate peace, Arafat, when the jihadists went out there and blew people up and caused chaos, he would always say, I do not condone that. That is not what we're about. But behind closed doors, he always said, jihad, 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 jihad. Okay? That is exactly what the Antichrist, the Mahdi, is going to do. He's going to put on a face and say, I'm not for this. I'm not for this chaos that's going on in the world. We're going to try to make peace. But then what he's going to do, he's going to break the treaty, and he's going to wage terror for the rest of the time. But he is secretly going to admire and allow this jihad to happen, because that is their end time. That is what they do. Okay, so the Mahdi is going to come. The caliphate is going to form. They say he's going to bring about a new world order because Islam is going to be dominant over the face of the globe. Like I said, some people believe he will come in peace. Some believe that chaos will have to usher him in. But he will make a peace treaty with Israel for 7 years. And here's another thing to note. When they point to that seal number 7, they actually believe that he is actually going to be riding a white horse. Okay, so again, this is polar opposite of our theology. And you've got, in just a few years, the Muslim population overtaking the Christian population. You've got 30% of the globe thinking that this guy's the bad guy. You've got 30% of the globe thinking this guy's the good guy. Okay, polar opposite. Now, the next figure they believe is going to come is someone named Isa. Now, Isa, they say, is going to be a radical Muslim, but he is going to claim to be our Jesus. Our Jesus, like the Christian Jesus. The Isa is going to claim and come and say, I was taken up to heaven. I did not die. I am not the Son of God. I am not a Christian. I am a Muslim, and I want everybody to support the Mahdi. So he is the Mahdi's right-hand man, and he is going to help the Mahdi bring about global domination of Islam. He is going to try to institute Sharia law across the globe. What is Sharia law? Is Sharia law based on the Quran? Now, here's what we need to know. In England, they already have Sharia law. If you are a Muslim and you have a civil case, you can go be tried in your own courts. You do not have to go to the British court. In the United States of America, trials have been decided based on Sharia law right here on our own soil. We need to realize that that is what Issa and the Mahdi want to establish Sharia law over the face of the globe, okay? This Issa character is also going to make everybody submit or be killed, okay? Submit or be killed in order to bring about that world dominion out there. He's wanting everybody submit or be killed. Now, what do we believe? That the mark of the beast is going to be introduced, that people cannot buy or sell unless they have the mark. This is what this man is going to do in order to support the Mahdi, okay? Again, who do we have in Revelation? We have the false prophet that rises up, that gets the mark of the beast, that supports the Antichrist. Again, this is polar opposite mirror image of our scriptures. Just one's the bad guy and one's the good guy. Okay, now this is a figure will also defeat the bad guy that Muslims believe is the bad guy called the Dajjal. Now the Dajjal will also claim to be Jesus. He will come at great speeds riding a giant white mule. I'm not making this stuff up. He's going to be riding a giant mule. He is going to come at great speeds. He's going to claim to be Jesus Christ himself. He is going to be Jewish, okay? But they say their Issa is going to defeat the Dajjal, okay? What do we say? That Jesus will come on a white horse, and he is going to be just indignant, and he is going to be immediately, wipe out the bad guys. But they believe that they are going to win. Do you remember when we talked about at the end, when we saw in Revelation the beast and all his armies were assembled to make war against the rider on the white horse? They were arrogant because they believe they can defeat him. They believe that he is actually the bad guy, okay? So there you have a lot of the end time theology of Islam, okay? Understand this, because you have a lot of the people across the globe believing the opposite of what we believe in Christianity, okay? So let's talk about a few more things here. The Dajjal will also be followed by Jews and women. Now, why would they say that? Because A, they don't like the Jews. We all know that they don't like the Jews, okay? They want to kill them. They want to wipe Israel off the face of the planet. But why would they say he'd be followed by women? Well, women obviously are not well treated over there, not well liked. But let me read you a verse in the Quran that corroborates this and maybe will help you see why they say that. Okay, so let me turn here in the Quran, and it says this about women. Men are superior, period, to women on account of the qualities with which God has gifted the one above the other, and on the account of the outlay they made from their substance for them. Virtuous women are obedient, careful during their husband's absence, because God hath of them been careful. But chide those for whose refractions ye have cause to fear. Remove them into beds apart and scourge them. Okay, so it actually says in the Quran to whip the women, whip your wives if they are disobedient to you. Okay, so that's why they claim that Dajjal is followed by women, because they don't like them. Okay, they don't have a high opinion of women in the Middle East. We all know that. Okay, so let me read you a verse. The coming of the lawless one will be in accordance with the work of Satan, displayed in all kinds of counterfeit miracles, signs, and wonders, and in every sort of evil that deceives those who are perishing. They perish because they refuse to love the truth so as to be saved. Who's the truth? Jesus. They refuse to love him. For this reason, God sends them a powerful delusion. Okay, all this stuff is very delusional, isn't it? I mean, it is. People are going to believe that this is the way to heaven, okay, is committing jihad and making people submit or be killed. A powerful delusion so that they will believe the lie, and so that they will be condemned who have not believed the truth but have delighted in wickedness. Now listen, I was watching the news program, I don't know how long ago it was at least 6 months ago, but there was a lady on there was a Muslim lady that she had sent her son. It wasn't a real young son, it was probably an older son, but she had sent him out to be a suicide bomber, and he had killed like 10 to 20 people. And she was on the news, and they were interviewing her, and she was like, oh, that I could send all my children to die for Allah it is a great and fabulous day. And she was praising her child for killing and slaughtering all these men, women, and children that he had killed. It was horrible. It was celebrating death. And just think about this, and think about their the way they think. That is a positive thing to do. To us, it's horrific. Okay, woe to those who call evil good and good evil. And think about this for a minute. God sent his son here to die for us. They are sending their children to die for Allah. Okay, it is a twisted celebration and how they view how to get to heaven. Okay, so just think about that. Let me read you another verse. In fact, a time is coming when anyone who kills you will think he is offering a service to God. That is John 16:2. That's what they believe. They believe that if they kill us, they are offering a service to Allah. It's here. It's now. It is happening. Okay? So let me give you a few more things to think about in regards to Islam. They believe that saying God is 3 in 1 or that Jesus is divine is the most terrible of crimes. Okay, so I'm going to read you a few verses here right out of the Quran that says this, okay, that says that, you don't like those people that believe in the Messiah. So here we go. Infidels, that's us, now are those who say God is the Messiah, son of Mary. Okay, you're infidels if you say the Messiah is the son of Mary. All right, now also, let me turn over here and read you another one. Kill those who join other gods with God, wherever ye shall find them, and seize them, besiege them, and lay wait for them with every kind of ambush. Kill them. Be done with them. Get rid of them. If they believe in that Jesus is the Messiah, that they join 3 to 1, just kill them wherever you find them. Okay, that is in the Quran. In fact, the Dome of the Rock, the most famous mosque that we see when we're looking at Jerusalem, it's on the Temple Mount. It is on the Temple Mount. Get this, the most sacred plot of land to God. The Temple Mount, where the temple actually sat at one period of time. The Dome of the Rock is there. What is written inside the Dome of the Rock, it says this. Over and over inside the Dome of the Rock, it says, far be it from God that he should have a son. Far be it from God that he should have a son. God and Jesus are looking down from heaven every day and seeing that. Far be it from God that he should have a son. There's already abomination on the Temple Mount. I'm not saying there's not going to be another one, but there's already one stationed there right now. They believe in their end-time theology that all Christians will be converted or killed. You're either going to convert or you're going to be killed, okay? Jews are in for a total slaughter. Now, this isn't in the Quran. It's in their other books, but here's what it says. The prophet said the last hour would not come unless the Muslims would fight against the Jews, and the Muslims would kill them until the Jews would hide themselves behind a stone or a tree, and a stone or a tree would say, Muslim or the servant of Allah, there is a Jew behind me, come and kill him. Okay? They believe that all the Jews are in for a total slaughter. I already said if there's found a contradiction in the Quran, the latter cancels out the former. Okay, if like I said about the peaceful verses and the kill them and off with their heads, the latter verses cancel out the former peaceful verses. The latter cancels out the former. Okay, if there's a contradiction, because Allah can change his mind. All right. They will try. In Daniel, it says that they will change the set times and the laws. That's Daniel chapter 7, verse 25, that at the end times, this beast, this Antichrist, is going to change the set times and the laws. Think about this. The set times are the appointed feasts. That's the appointed feast in God's calendar. That's Passover. That's our Easter. We celebrate Christmas. They celebrate Hanukkah. Okay, this Antichrist religion is going to change the set times. Islam does not go by the same calendar as we do, and it does not follow the Jewish calendar. They have their own calendar. When they go in and conquer nations, they immediately claim their calendar, and the people have to start using their calendar. They change the set times. They change the appointed feasts. They will also try to change the law. That's Daniel 7:25. What do we see today? Sharia law. Okay, like I said, in Britain, they can go to their own courts. Here in this nation, they have decided cases based on Sharia law. That is what they want, Sharia law over the face of the entire globe. They will try to change the set times and the law. Okay, they also will use beheading, okay? Listen, this is in the Quran. Let me read this to you. It says, when ye encounter the infidels, strike off their heads till ye have made a great slaughter among them. Strike off their heads. What do we see happening now in the Middle East? ISIS is taking Christians and beheading them. This is exactly what Muhammad did back in his day. There was a Jewish city that he tried to convert. They laughed at him. And then when he got strong and plundered and looted and all this stuff, he went back in there and slaughtered the entire village. They behead. What's interesting is that in Revelation chapter 20, verse 4, it tells you how the saints are killed in the last days, and it says they are beheaded. This is the Middle Eastern culture. No other culture does this today, and you see this happening all the time now in the news. They are beheading the Christians, okay? Beheading is going to be key in the last days. Know this and understand what is happening in the world now is not against revelation. It's against God, but it's following what God said it was going to come to pass. Okay. Is Islam peaceful? You hear this all the time. Islam's a peaceful religion. These are radicals. Okay, I've already said if you are a follower of Christ, you are going to follow Christ. If you are a follower of the Prophet Muhammad, you are going to follow the Prophet Muhammad, and he waged jihad, he beheaded, he pillaged, okay, over and over again. They are following the Prophet. This is true Islam. If you are a peaceful Islamic follower, you're not following true Islam. Are there peaceful Islamic followers out there? If they are false followers. They're not following the true religion, okay? Because this is the true religion. It's the religion of Muhammad. Okay. We hear that all the time. It's peaceful, it's peaceful, it's peaceful. George Bush even said they worship the same God we do. They do not, okay? Because they say there can't be three in one. Jesus was not the Messiah, okay? That's in the Quran, all right? We do not follow the same God as them. Over 90% of the terrorist groups around the world are Islamic. Over 90% of the terrorist groups in the world are Islamic. The Quran commands Muslims not to befriend anyone who is not Muslim, okay? You are not supposed to befriend anyone who is not Muslim. It says this: take therefore none of them for friends, till they have fled their homes for the cause of God. If they turn back, then seize them, and slay them wherever ye shall find them. But take none of them as friends or helpers. Okay? If you live in a non-Muslim land, you can lie in order to further your ends. As in, you can befriend people and then lie to them in order to further their ends. This is the reason why when our soldiers are men and women that are overseas, that are trying to make peace in the Middle East, and they have an interpreter or they have someone helping them that lives in the land, and then all of a sudden this person comes in, this interpreter they trusted comes in and starts shooting the soldiers, or is a suicide bomber, just blows himself up and has everybody killed. This is why they can lie to your face to further their ends. They can lie to you if you are non-Muslim. They can pretend to be your friends, but they can't be your friend. It says so in the Quran if they are true followers. Okay, so this is what we see happening all the time to our soldiers, because we don't, in the Western mindset, we don't have that mentality. We think if you are friendly to me, you're my friend and you can get a relationship, but they can separate that and they can say, I can lie to you, I can pretend to be what I am, but I am going to follow what the prophet told me to do. Okay, kill them wherever you shall find them. We just read that verse. Okay, in the same vein, just like they can befriend you but not really befriend you, okay? If you are a non-Muslim nation, they can make a treaty with you and then break it. And this is what Muhammad did. Like I've already said, he makes treaties with nations. He regroups, he gets stronger, and then he goes in and he slaughters them. He breaks the treaty. This is what Muhammad did. They are allowed to do that. Also, go forward into Revelation. What happens? He makes a peace treaty. He comes peacefully. He has a crown. He has a bow. He has no arrows. He's coming in peace. But then what happens at the midpoint? He breaks the treaty. This matches Revelation. Okay? Okay. So that kind of wraps up Islamic ideology. It is the polar opposite of ours. We believe the bad guy is the bad guy. They believe the bad guy is the good guy, okay? And it's just like looking in the polar opposite mirror. We need to understand that. We need to understand their end time theology says Islam is going to be dominant over the face of the globe. We are going to kill the Christians or make them submit to our religion. This matches Revelation. We need to understand that, based especially on the environment today. We need to try to stop ISIS in whatever way, shape, or form we can, because they are trying to form the beast of chapter 13, and the beast of chapter 12, who is Satan, is standing on that seashore trying to form the beast, and he's getting his followers to try to form the beast. We need to stop it and before it comes to fruition. We need to understand their theology. The Mahdi is supposed to rise up and make a 7-year peace treaty with Israel. Then he's going to break the treaty. There's going to be one following him that's going to create the mark of the beast. There's going to be another guy coming in the sky on they say a giant white mule. But listen, we know the ending, and we know what's going to occur when Jesus comes back. But what we should be doing now is knowing what is happening, knowing how much they've ahead, knowing the terror that's going to come. We need to stop it at all costs if we can. I'm really looking forward to Jesus coming back, but we need to stop the slaughter if we can. Awesome. So, again, this is Revelation in black and white. We're on week 8. I didn't get into 14 and 15. You're going to do that on your own in your homework. But I wanted to go over Islamic ideology today so you would have a better understanding of what we are up against. I hope this has helped you in some way understand what's going on today, and I will see you back here next week.